It is so good to see you, and it is even better to be seen. And I can see on your smiling faces, especially with your masks off now, everybody was a little bit hesitant to kind of, do I wear the mask? Do I not wear the mask? Do I hug? Do I fist bump? Do I chest bump? Do I shoulder shrug? What do I do? But I think we all got into the rhythm. We are excited to see one another, excited to be out, and excited to celebrate such an auspicious occasion.
Yes.
Thank you all for being here. So my name is Stacy Bolton, and I am a board member of the Golden Apple Foundation. I have been on the board of the Golden Apple for the past 7 years, where I serve both on the executive committee and chairing the governance and nominating committee. I was introduced to Golden Apple from my colleagues at the Northern Trust, where I serve as senior vice president and chief risk officer of our corporate and institutional services business. And I want to say a good thank you to my Northern Trust colleagues that are here to support this event. I'd like to just say, as you've heard in the videos and as you've seen and as you've read, that this teacher shortage throughout the state of Illinois has reached a crisis level. And Golden Apple is uniquely positioned to avert that crisis through its innovation and through its inspiration. It's innovation in how we prepare teachers so that they come to the classroom day one ready. And it's inspiration in how we celebrate teachers and the work that they do in changing lives. Tonight, you'll hear how we are scaling as an organization to become a material solution in this teacher shortage crisis, and how our scholars and our accelerators and the programs that we have for them are growing in impact. But one of the things that I want to do today is stand and bring attention to the beneficiaries of the work of Golden Apple, and that is the student. I'm reminded of a song that many think that Whitney Houston wrote, but it actually was George Benson, that said, "I believe that children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us all how we used to be." And that is what we're here today, is celebrating teachers and the work in benefiting our children. The teacher's role has been so important in my own life. My first teachers were my parents. They taught me without a formal education. Neither of my parents graduated from high school. My father graduated from the 4th grade, and it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized that he couldn't read. But I understood the value of his wisdom, of his kindness, of his generosity of heart and spirit, and that was instilled in me at a young age. My mother didn't get her GED until she was 40 years old, and they taught me wisdom. See, I grew up with 9 brothers and sisters, and we moved from the west side in a 1-bedroom apartment to the south side in the suburbs. And after that, I realized that education was going to be important for me. My parents instilled the importance of education in me. I must admit, I didn't always have respect for learning. Back in those days, we did have respect for teachers, because back then they could paddle you. I'm just telling you. And I was many days with my hands on the desk and my butt sticking out, getting 5 whacks for something that I did. Nevertheless, they instilled in me a love for learning. And I remember going to an all-black grade school, and I was nervous because this was back when they were busing us, and we were being bused after 8th grade to a predominantly white high school. I was nervous if I could cut it. And one of my teachers grabbed me in the collar, and she said, "If you can get an A in my class, you can get an A in any class." And it took me a while, but I figured out she was right. And my love for learning started. And I credit that love, and I credit those teachers with my success. I've had the privilege of, in my life, speaking in boardrooms all across this country. I've had the privilege of training others in my field. I've had the privilege of guest lecturing at the University of Illinois School of Law, at Northwestern School of Law, at DePaul's MBA program. I've had the privilege of traveling all over the breadth of this country and the world, sharing my story of success. We all know that teaching children in well-resourced school districts where the children come from healthy and functioning families and have plenty of support makes the job of teaching a little bit easier. But teaching to those that are underprivileged, teaching in under-resourced schools where many children are battling dysfunction in their surroundings, it does not make the job easier, but it makes the job that much more important. Throughout this evening, I want you to keep in the forefront of your mind that my story could not have been possible had it not been for great teachers. You can clap there. So today, as we honor BMO Harris, its CEO, David Casper, and my fellow board member and friend, John Smart, for their impact to the field of education, let's keep remembering the next generation of great teachers and the lives of the students that they, through the Golden Apple, will impact. Thank you, and God bless you.
Truly, truly, truly remarkable, Stacy. Again, welcome. Tonight, we aim to bring awareness to two Golden Apple programs. For undergraduates, the Golden Apple Scholars Program, and for career changers, the Golden Apple Accelerators Program. I am Keisa Thurman Stovall, the Chief Program Officer at the Golden Apple Foundation. But here's where I need you to really give a round of applause, because I am a 1992 Golden Apple Scholar. I stand here tonight before you as the realization of the impact that the Scholars Program has on the trajectory of a teacher's career and ultimately one's life journey. Full circle is where I find mine to be. Yes, I've done a total 360. Not what most folks would like to say nearly 30 years down the line, that I'm right back where I started. But for me, it is such a beautiful and triumphant story that I have it be told no other way. As a young, poor black girl from the south side of Chicago, from very humble beginnings, much like Stacy's family, my parents had no formal education, neither graduated from high school, only one from elementary school, yet they wanted better for us. And so they moved, all 10 of us collectively, to the far south side of Chicago. And my parents would always say to us, if we could find a way to get you there, we know that you'll find a way to stay there. How very, very true. But never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine being able to serve with the depth and breadth and scope with the exponential reach that I have as the Chief Program Officer. Golden Apple, I could talk about forever because it has been a part of who I am since the very, very beginning of time. An organization that has given so much to me. I'm filled with gratitude and would be remiss not to acknowledge someone who saw more in me than most folks ever did, and perhaps some still do. Mr. Martin, affectionately known as Mike Koldyke. I understand that he's not here with us tonight, but I want to be certain that you know just how special and how precious he and his late wife, Pat, are. Notice I did not say was, I said are, because that's forever present in me. For it was he and his late wife who had the vision. They planted the seeds and cultivated what is the Golden Apple Foundation and the Scholars Program. So to Mike, in your absence, I want you to know that like so many others in this room, we are eternally grateful for you, to you, and to all of you who have joined us here tonight because you believe in our vision and our mission and the work that we do at the Golden Apple Foundation. So Mike, I'm hoping that you're live streaming this and get this in real time. Thank you for just being you and for providing us, the scholars, with the opportunity to grow into a diverse group of teachers driven by a passion to serve and remain in education, affecting change for many years, and for me, in my case, decades to come. Join me in offering him yet another hand clap of praise, thanksgiving, and gratitude. And with that being said, let's officially start by hearing about our Scholars Program.
The Golden Apple Scholars Program is the best teacher preparation program I know. It provides young men and women who are ready on day one to go into schools of need, go into classrooms of need, excite, engage, invigorate the learning of young people across the state.
Well, Golden Apple does not only provide me with the scholarship, the money to go to college, but it also provides a support system. It provides workshops that you will use in real life.
I was able to engage in the summer institutes, and I was able to learn some stuff that my peers at my other institutions hadn't seen yet.
Golden Apple's whole mission is to create the best teachers possible for Illinois students. And there are not a lot of programs like this in education. And Golden Apple does that. They find people who are passionate about this and who have that vision. And that vision is something that's necessary for a classroom.
All of these classes they give us are very, very beneficial and inspiring. Most teachers don't get this experience, so it's really, grateful.
"82% of our Golden Apple scholars stay teaching in schools of need for 5 or more years, as compared to 54% of teachers nationally. So the fact that we're able to have this impact in schools of need is truly impressive.
Golden Apple has been instrumental in my career, from the very first professional development sessions to the real-world classroom experiences during my first summer to my amazing mentor, Molly Blowbaum, who helped me all throughout my first 2 years of teaching.
I think Golden Apple scholars have a high retention rate, not only because they're better prepared, but because they have a network with one another, because we bring scholars together to learn from one another, to share with one another.
Golden Apple tells you everything that's around being a great teacher. It's about the socio-emotional learning. It's about teaching students how to cope with pain, how to cope with all their emotions, how to just become the best person that they can be outside of the content.
I'm very thankful for Golden Apple for providing me 5 years of wonderful support, whether it be personal, academically, or financially. They've always been there. I'm very thankful for that. It's a priceless experience.
It's given me confidence, given me experience. Every time I come to Golden Apple, I feel like I'm gonna get the best of the best.
We need Golden Apple Scholars in schools of need because these are the places where great teachers are needed the most.
I appreciate everything that Golden Apple's ever done for me. They really helped me along this path.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Norma de la Rosa and Emmanuel Manny Del Rio.
Good evening, everyone. My job is to recruit future scholars. What that means is that I get to engage with applicants across the state of Illinois who are excited about changing lives as a teacher. I get to hear about why they want to go into teaching. It may be because they're inspired by one of their former teachers, or because they want to be the change in the classroom and they believe that every young mind has potential. Just last Friday, while at a presentation, I asked the students if they knew about our program. One young lady said, "Yes, you help students become teachers because we don't have enough of them." And that is why they apply to our program, because they know that Golden Apple will help them achieve their dreams and make a difference. Now, it is easy for me to highlight our program and the supports it offers to the next generation of teachers, from tuition assistance to the heart of our program, the Scholar Institutes, to academic and social emotional supports, job placement assistance, and of course, mentoring from award-winning teachers. It is easy to share all of that because I'm a bit of a chatterbox. I may seem a little bit rigid right now, but I promise you, I am not. Now, let me tell you about the hardest part of my job. One, knowing that not everyone who's interested and eligible can be a recipient of our scholarship. And two, withholding smiles and tears until final decisions are announced. Needless to say, smiles and tears are not part of my job description, but I guess that falls under other duties as assigned. Something else that I share with interested scholars is how unique each and every one of their experiences will be. More than half of our scholars are first-generation college goers, like myself. In my case, earning a college degree meant that my degree was also earned by my dad, a man without a high school diploma, a working-class man who always had 2 jobs to support us and was never able to be present at any of my after-school soccer games, especially on the day that I was called up to play varsity. It's okay, I missed a penalty kick. He would have been disappointed. But he was present at my college graduation to watch me stumble as I walked down the steps and off the stage. But I didn't care, because at that moment, all I could do was smile and think about my dad. And all that kept running through my mind was, "Dad, we finally have our college degree." While I was not part of a support system like the one the Scholars Program provides, we know what it takes our scholars to persist and become a highly effective teacher in the state of Illinois. Now, as I always say during my presentations, I can tell you about the benefits, the eligibility, the application and selection process of our program. But it takes the scholar to share about their experience, because the most powerful example is when you hear it from someone who is in the program. Therefore, I am happy to introduce Emmanuel Manny del Rio.
Thank you, Norma. This is surreal. I'm going to share a little bit about my journey with you all, so you know why I feel that this is surreal, standing up here. In 2010, I reported $10,000 as my family household income to FAFSA. That's approximately 3 times below the federal poverty level for a family household of 5. I even went to college my freshman year without a laptop and without a phone. The statistics and stigmas associated with that were not lost on me, though, but I beat those odds, and now I'm here. Maria Anzaldúa, a feminist Chicana theorist, writes about a place called the borderlands. She describes them as a place of physical tension where you're in limbo, not belonging to any particular land, you're in between spaces. She also describes another place called Nepantla. That's more of an emotional limbo, an uncomfortable feeling of belonging neither here nor there. Growing up, I lived in a place with no solid ground. I moved schools yearly because we switched apartments yearly. I struggled with my Mexican-American identity. You see, they called me too white for my intelligence and my accent, and in the same breath also called me other racial slurs for my skin color and my ability to speak Spanish. These were my borderlands. I struggled with wanting to be a first-generation college student versus staying home to work and pay bills for my mom. Oh, how expensive poverty can be. And so I can't explain to you all how exhausted my legs have felt just having to balance myself on eggshells. But on this broken glass that I've walked, I found myself, and I uncovered a gem. And I thank my village for that. My high school mentor, Mr. Gordon, is a part of that village. He introduced me to Golden Apple. He said, go into the library one Friday morning and apply for this scholarship because, quote, it had my name written all over it, and I could still hear him saying it, still to this day. And so I applied, I got interviewed, and sure enough, I became a Golden Apple Scholar in 2010. Thank you. And what followed was amazing. Golden Apple Scholar Institutes truly forced me out of my shell professionally and personally. I made lifelong friends and colleagues, and I was afforded opportunities that I always dreamt of but never thought were tangible. Golden Apple truly helped me become a highly effective math teacher, a culturally competent leader, and a systems thinker. And it didn't stop there. Golden Apple showed me how my knowledge and my impact can transcend the walls of my classrooms. Being a liaison and a reflective leader for SI, Scholar Institutes, and being a mentee to some great Golden Apple mentors gave me this perspective. They believed in me before I believed in myself. And during this pandemic, where teachers have been asked to do the impossible, right? Even in the midst of all that, my Golden Apple community was there to support me. When COVID shut down schools in the spring of 2020, my Golden Apple colleagues from all across the state helped me unpack this thing we call asynchronous teaching and simultaneous instruction. You know, teaching in 2 places at the exact same time. Golden Apple helped me beat the odds then, just as I know they're helping you beat the odds now. Today, I'm a nationally board certified teacher, a PhD candidate. Thank you. And a network leader for Chicago Public Schools, supporting 31 schools, 57 administrators, hundreds of teachers, and 10,000 students. And so I'm no James Baldwin, Gloria Ladson-Billings, Rochelle Gutierrez, Goldie Muhammad, who's a Golden Apple Scholar, or Zaretta Hammond. I'm just an ordinary person who had a village behind him and who happened to uncover a gem in broken glass. So thank you, Golden Apple. Thank you, Mr. Gordon. And thank you to my partner, Heather, I think she's watching, for pushing me to go through with this and for believing in me. Lastly, thank you to my mother who raised me and my siblings by herself under all of those circumstances. And so I do urge you to pick up your phone, look at the QR code, make an investment, and tell your friends about us, right? I strongly urge every single educational stakeholder in this room to help us uncover these gems with love and patience and an investment. Because even through fire and pressure can we find diamonds. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage Kisa Thurman Stovall.
Oh, that was my theme song. Okay. As Manny just so eloquently shared, you now have heard about the power of our Scholars Program. And there is no doubt, none whatsoever, that the Scholars Program is the right program as a long-term solution for the teacher shortage. Key here is long-term, requiring the luxury of time. In rural areas where the shortage is actually the most dire, we don't have that. Time is in short supply, and a near-term solution is needed. Recognizing this, Golden Apple, once again, came in hand. We rose to the occasion. We recognized such, and we created and launched a program for career changers in Southern, Central, and Western Illinois in 2020 when most folks thought that it could not be done because of the pandemic. We did it. The Accelerators program, as its name is truly befitting, because it is a 15-month concurrent teaching and licensure program for those that hold a bachelor's degree in fields other than education, but who have the desire to teach. In the words of our president, Alan Mather, this program provides for filling the bucket while patching the holes. It's a game changer in so many ways. It offers an expedited pathway to licensure that is doable for those wanting to teach while having to navigate life as it currently exists. And ultimately, what happens is we secure a proficient teacher, certified teacher in the classroom in a relatively short period of time. Although we are only in our second year of implementation, we've already inducted 50 accelerators. How about that for record timing? As rural communities become familiar with our programming, we are being sought out by more and more districts wanting to partner with us in support of alleviating the teacher shortage. To that end, we are growing to become a material solution to the teacher shortage. And now I'd like for you to hear from two accelerators about their experiences thus far.
A new program's providing a path for college students to the classroom.
Golden Apple has launched an accelerated participant program. The one-year teacher residency and licensure program will expedite preparation for schooling for teachers.
Here to talk about its Accelerator Teacher Residency and Licensure Program is President Alan Mather.
So the Golden Apple Accelerators launched this last year just in pilot phase with 30 career changers or seniors in college who did not go through schools of education as a way to address the dire teacher shortage in Illinois. The Golden Apple Accelerators, again, takes career changers. They go through a residency where they're placed in a school in their communities. They receive a teaching license through one of our higher education partners. And at the end of that 1 year, they're teachers in the classroom. They're making differences in the lives of students.
Knowing that you have support, you've got your peers you're working with, you've got all these experienced teachers in Golden Apple that are pulling for you. I mean, it's just amazing. It makes a huge difference.
And you know, right now is the time for people to rethink what they're doing. If people are looking for meaning in their lives, if they really want an opportunity to affect change, teaching is the way to do that.
Right out of college, started a family and put off my career for quite some time. As I grew, what I wanted to do in life changed, and I started working as a paraprofessional at Decatur Public Schools and loved education. I fell in love with education and started to search for a program that would fit my needs and my family, and I found Golden Apple, and it was the best decision that I ever made.
The Golden Apple Accelerator started this first year just for special education in high school, but we're expanding it now from pre-K through high school, special education, bilingual education, whatever the field, we are looking for those who want to make a difference.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Corey Richardson.
I knew that I wouldn't. I feel
I miss being in the room with people, but more importantly, I miss being in the room with people who care about education. Now, with that being said, I do want to thank you for coming out tonight, and thank you for helping us honor BMO Harris and also the work of the Golden Apple Foundation. And I think this type of work, the work of education that we're supporting tonight, is of top of mind for a lot of Americans. Not just a little bit, the whole system, the schools, the teachers, the students, everything. And I can speak to that. As a person who is actively house shopping every weekend, if you know of any listings, please let me know. I just lost a house this week, please. But I know it's top of mind because the school is the heart of every community, big or small. That teachers are the very first responders in the classroom. They are the first to see things when things go wrong, but they also are the first to see potential, especially in Stacey Bolton a couple years ago. And with that being said, this is why that support is needed. And my passion for ensuring that students have an education regardless of their zip code is why I supported Golden Apple as a marathon runner 2 times over. I will never do that again. That was horrible, it was emotional. But I also supported them as a donor and also as an employee for the last 8 years. Because I believe giving to something comes not from guilt, but from joy. Mark Fuller taught me that there's no capacity for how much joy someone has when it comes time to give. So I ask this out of you, not of guilt, but out of joy. Joy for the fact that we are creating opportunities for students all across the state in every part of the world. So there are 3 unique ways you can give to Golden Apple. One is that QR code that is right there on your table. You can scan it just like you do a restaurant. 2, if you struggle with that QR code like I do every time when I go to a restaurant, getting a flash like, can I see it? There's also the forever reliable pledge card in the middle of your table. And for those who are joining us virtually, thank you so much for doing so. You can go to goldenapple.org/impact to support us. And in the words of my grandmother, she told me, when you care about people, you make sure you feed them. So with that, dinner is served. Thank you so much.
Hold on, before we get moving, I would like to propose a toast to all of you who make Golden Apple a reality. You see, I am a proud school principal, and I work with Golden Apple scholars on a daily basis. Golden Apple does not only make instructional leaders, they make people who are mission aligned to serving in schools of need. More than half of Golden Scholars identify as people of color. And at my school in Palatine, Illinois, where 70% of the students are Latino, Latina, Latinx, thanks to the Golden Apple Scholars Program, we now have our first male Latino math teacher in the history of the school. A young man that actually graduated from our school. We also have our first Latino mariachi teacher, who's actually in the crowd tonight. Hey, Andre, you rock, sir. And the Golden Apple Scholar Program has allowed me, as a building school principal, to fill vacancies in 9 different positions in my 5 years as a school leader. So to all of you who believe in the power of education, who believe in the power of Golden Apple, and to your investment, thank you.
Good evening. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap once. Nice. That is what I learned as an early childhood special educator. One of the first things I learned in controlling a crowd. When you're an early childhood special educator, a crowd could be 2 children, or it could be 200. And I just want to say welcome to everybody, and thank you for paying attention. Nice job. Teachers' jobs are really super hard. My whole life I wanted to be a mom and a teacher, and I was supported by my family. I was supported by other teachers to make my way into the profession, and I am still a teacher today. But I'm also very proud to be the board chair of the Golden Apple Foundation and represent our amazing board of directors. So thank you. Originally, I was introduced to Golden Apple by my father, Stanley Golder, 35 years ago, when he realized that being a teacher to me was really serious. And he wanted me to see this little organization that he was asked to participate in by his very good friend, Mike Koldyke. And he started bringing my brothers and me to the Golden Apple Awards. During that time, I realized that teachers really are heroes. And that's what made the Golden Apple Foundation special to me. I have been on this board now for 21 years, and that is a very, it is a very long time to be in one place doing work for one organization, but that's how much Golden Apple has evolved over the years. It keeps me coming back, and it keeps many others coming back on our board. And I hope that you've learned something new today about education, about the need for education. I'm just going to talk, you've heard many times, and by the way, I'm more nervous talking now that I saw Manny, wherever you are, do such an amazing job. So if I fumble a little, it's because I can't live up to Manny, really. But knowing that the programs of Golden Apple are replicable, I'm very, very excited about our future. You may not know this from the information, but we have Golden Apple Scholars in every single county in the state of Illinois. Many of whom come from their county, learn from the best of the best, our Golden Apple teachers and leaders, and then go back to teach where they came from, knowing the great need. So the cycle of teaching is really at the heart of Golden Apple as well. Knowing that these programs are replicable, I'm also really excited about the possibility of expanding our programs beyond the borders of Illinois. We have many preliminary discussions. Yes? We've had many preliminary discussions surrounding this idea, and what keeps us all going is the notion that all children deserve equitable and excellence in education. So I want to thank you for being with us tonight. Those of you that are new to Golden Apple, I hope you keep learning. Those of you that are repeat donors and being involved in our organization, thank you for coming back. And I will repeat what Manny said about the little QR code, you know, that you can scan. It's my little dig there. But thank you very much for being with us. Tonight we honor BMO Harris, represented by David Casper, and our very own Vice Chair, John Smart, for their contributions in education in our community. So thank you to them. To tell a little more about that story, it is my pleasure to introduce my good friend, past board chair, making him quite a mentor in all seriousness, and highly engaged Golden Apple enthusiast, David Chandler.
Nancy's my big sister on the board. I think I joined this board 20 years ago, and I think the only guy older than us on this board, he's older than we are anyway, is Mark Fuller, I think. I'm not sure. But I also want to thank the Golden Apple staff for putting this together. It's COVID time. It's confusing. We debated in person or not. I can tell you I'd much rather be here in person with you because you get the feel for the people that are here at your table. You can hear Manny speak, you can hear Corey speak, you can hear Stacy speak, or Kisa. Certainly not me. Alicia Winkler is our CEO. We're very proud of her, and Alan Winkler. Alan Mather, did I say Alan Winkler? Alan Mather is not here. He's out in an expansion mode. But Alan, when we started Accelerators a few years ago, Alan traveled to every district in the state. He knew more about our needs in teaching than anybody in the state. So when we went to donors and the legislature to present our case, we knew more than they did, which isn't that hard now. Which is a sad statement, actually, but frankly, Alan is a hero. He's out on the streets of another state trying to help them figure out how to get the proper staffing at their schools so kids can get a good education. It's just that simple. It's a little bit of an emergency. It's going to creep up on us. If we don't pay attention to it, it's going to hit us right between the eyes someday. It's starting to in our world if you read the papers. So we all need to get behind this profession. We need to attract good people. We need to reward them. We need to thank them, which we do at Golden Apple every day. So anyway, thanks, Nancy. My job is to present the Golden Apple Impact Award, which is given annually to the person or organization who most effectively, most positively, and most significantly impacts Illinois students. It would be easy to give this year's Golden Apple Impact Award to BMO Financial Group simply because of its long-term and meaningful support of Golden Apple. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. BMO is much more than a Golden Apple supporter. From my perspective, the clincher was the fall 2020 announcement of BMO Empower, a set of long-term commitments which pledged $5 billion over the next 5 years to address key barriers faced by minority businesses, communities, and families. Yep, that's $5 billion. That got my attention as a board member when I looked around and said, who's helping? They're helping. Investing in education is a key part of that effort to revitalize neighborhoods and communities hard hit by COVID and economic inequity. BMO and its employees know well that no barrier is more significant than a lack of access to great teachers and schools. I won't go into Empower further, but Google it and see for yourself. It's on the internet. And it's true. I have the pleasure tonight to introduce Dave Casper, U.S. CEO of BMO Financial Group, and John Smart, recently retired as Managing Director of BMO Harris Bank and a Vice Chair of our own Golden Apple. I've known both of these gentlemen for over 30 years. I know them as bankers, as advisors, as partners, and as friends. As bankers, they were terrific to do business with in good times and bad. I reflected on the business side of things as I wrote this introduction, and I decided that the reason we did so much business over the years, and I'm not a commercial for BMO, this is legit, is because they always ask the best questions, maybe the hardest questions as well. BMO Harris Bank, which is Dave Casper, John Smart, and others, including Peter McNitt in this audience, BMO and Harris, they made us better by being a true partner and really understanding what we were trying to do in our business. They were also the most consistent partner in terms of people and approach. Dave's tenure at BMO, most recently as CEO, personifies this philosophy. His leadership at the bank and in Chicagoland overall is exemplary and purposeful. We are fortunate to have him as a business and civic leader. John Smart pioneered BMO's advisory and lending business in the education industry and served as a key advisor to the bank's philanthropic efforts in education as well. He continues in that role in retirement, which is a compliment to John. John's efforts as vice chair of Golden Apple to help our scholars and accelerators, teacher development, and leadership programs expand to meet the needs of desperate schools throughout Illinois are irreplaceable. Both of these gentlemen are BMO Harris lifers, which is an incredibly positive reflection of their accomplishments and their loyalty. Neither one of them would like me to continue talking about them. So I won't plan to extend the session unnecessarily. They won't allow it, and I respect that. After a brief video, Dave and John will join Nancy and me at the podium and make a few remarks. So let's roll that video about BMO, please.
All the money in the world can't see around the corner or beyond the surface. All the money in the world can't put a new idea on the wall or a hand on a shoulder. It can't change minds or challenge expectations. All the money in the world can't do the hard thing, the right thing. All the money in the world isn't enough to do what needs doing. It takes something else, another kind of currency, to grow what's good in the world. It takes the best of us, working with people, not just for them. Embracing the hard stuff and finishing the job. It takes turning values into value, being a source of courage and connection. It takes being all in all the time. It takes BMO, boldly growing the good.
Hold on, Mr. Casper over there. So Dave and John, on behalf of the Golden Apple and its board of directors, but most importantly on behalf of school children all across Illinois, we are pleased to present BMO Harris Bank with the Golden Apple's 2021 Impact Award. Thank you, guys. Congrats, John. Appreciate it. You bet. Thank you, Nancy. All right, I don't want to. Thank you, Nancy, for the gift. David, you can do a commercial for BMO anytime. In fact, as they say in DC, I yield back all my time to Dave Chandler. So thank you. And on behalf of BMO, I am extremely pleased to accept this. It's such a great organization. I was just talking to Nancy about her dad, who was also a huge philanthropist here. But we are delighted to accept this. Our purpose at BMO is to boldly grow the good in business and in life. And those words are chosen carefully, and I think they are kind of a bond for our employees. No organization is perfect, and we certainly aren't. But every day, particularly here in Chicago, where there is so much need, we do work really hard with our employees, our communities, and our organizations we support to do the right thing. And Golden Apple is an extremely great example of that. And all the people here that have supported it could just as easily be up here with John and myself. But we're here, and we're going to gladly accept the award. And I am doing that now. I do want to acknowledge, the best thing about getting honored is you get a great table. And at my table is Phyllis Lockett, and Phyllis is a former awardee. And I don't know if Mike Koldyke is watching live, but if the camera shot through when we were talking about Mike, you would have seen Phyllis going and saying what a great person he is, and he is. So before I turn it over to John, let me say one thing about John, and the only reason I'm here, standing here, is because of John. Not only is my very good friend and colleague, he has been really at the heart and the soul of our education support at BMO. And anything I say about John is, I could be here all night. So let me just say, John, thanks for making BMO better. Thanks for continuing to make BMO better in your role here. And over to you, and thank you. Oh, thank you, David. Well, first to Dave Chandler. David, thank you. And you have had an enormous impact on the Golden Apple Foundation over 20 plus years, and I've been thankful to be a partner of yours for most of that ride. David, I am delighted to be accepting this award with you. I'm fortunate tonight to be straddling both sides of the fence. On the one hand, I'm a BMO alum. On the other hand, I'm a vice chair of the board of Golden Apple. In this position, I'm proud times two, and would like to thank the Golden Apple Foundation for honoring BMO with the Impact Award. And a special thanks in particular to Mike, Nancy, Alicia, and Alan, the entire board and staff, and the outstanding educators in our network who are making a game-changing difference in educating our future workforce. I would also like to thank my former BMO colleagues, friends, our valued supporters, and all those cheering for the good in education tonight. In fact, in this room and streaming online, there is an amazing set of relationships. A hallmark of BMO Harris's success for over 200 years has been building long-term relationships. About 15 years ago, Mark Fuller, Golden Apple board member, and Elaine Schuster, then CEO, took me to lunch at the 312 restaurant on LaSalle Street. They described the foundation's mission and ended the lunch, "How can we engage BMO?" Intrigued by what I heard, I agreed to approach BMO and also expressed an interest to learn more. The BMO playbook came out. From then until now, BMO has always taken the time and interest to understand the people and programs at Golden Apple, and in turn, make a commitment to its mission and strategy while closely following the important outcome metrics. With time and success came increased financial support from the bank. Led by Diane Watton and Rebecca Lascaris of the Community Giving Team, yes, they championed BMO's support as the lead corporate donor at key inflection points that helped scale our operating model and further address the critical demand for high-quality teachers in schools of need. Of note, when the world of education was pivoting online during the pandemic, Golden Apple included, a call came in from BMO with an offer for additional funding. Golden Apple is becoming a systemic solution to the challenges at hand through our Scholars and Accelerators programs. The best is yet to come, and thanks to our partnership with BMO, we are well positioned for the future as a responsible and sustainable organization. In closing, I would like to personally thank Dave Casper for his outstanding leadership at the bank and in the community. I'm grateful to call Dave a mentor and friend. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage Corey Richardson.
So I really do like that song. That's my favorite song. So first and foremost, thank you for being with us here tonight. And also thank you to everyone who's joining us virtually. This is a big night. It's been 2 years since we've had the honor to have an event like this, which does mean I've had 2 years of thinking about what I wanted to say, right? So I have one question for you, and also an additional invitation to join the work of the foundation. My question is this: what did you learn when you couldn't travel the world? Right? I think I've been asking that a long time. For me personally, I spent way too many times on the virtual happy hours to think about what I lost. I lost experiences, I lost time, and sadly, I even lost family. But tonight, I choose to think about, what did I learn? That is the benefit of working with teachers. They are always talking about the growth. And I learned that I will always be caught on mute at least twice a week in every meeting. I also learned that for an entire year, I got the privilege to count how many hugs I got from my mom in a year. It was 4. And I also learned that the work that we do and so tirelessly promote has the capacity to hold communities together through tough times. Now, for me, I learned the power and the impact of small moments. And everyone has those moments. I remember this moment clearly for me is when I was recruited to join Golden Apple. They said, "Hey, you should come work here." I said, "I'm good." I sent them a letter and with a card saying, "Have a nice day." And they called me and said, "Hey, you should come for lunch." And I remember my father was getting back surgery that day, and he said, "Son, take the job." And that was a small moment. But I can definitely agree that everyone in this crowd has had one of those small moments that led you to this particular time and place. Because those small moments make the difference. And in our line of work, the margins are small. A phone call, an email, a visit, someone remembering your name when you're talking to them, those are the small moments. And one of the small moments that I recall is when I first came to the foundation, I was recruited to be a recruiter to go find out the next class of Golden Apple Scholars. And I remember we were in the room. It was an executive board meeting. Mark Fuller, you were definitely there. And I remember Mike Koldyke sitting in the room calmly and firmly stating, I want world beaters. Find me the exceptionally talented individuals to join the foundation. He kind of sounded like a football announcer, and that was about it. And I just remember to myself, find them. But as we look back over the last 2 years of our work, and also through our history of our work, that's not enough. It's not enough to find a Golden Apple Scholar or award a Teacher of the Year. We must support them in the small moments of life, you know, when life gets lonely and busy at the same time. And that led me to say that we need to strengthen the supports that we have for our educators to make sure they can show up every day. Now, I'm not going to assume that I know what everyone in this room went through to get here in the last 2 years, but I can imagine that you had to take a step back. Step back from your family, step back from vacation, step back from all the trappings of life. And tonight, I ask you, take a step forward with us. Move forward with us as we seek to create a positive change in pursuing our big, hairy, audacious goal. Because I know what happens when we don't get it right. Someone doesn't learn. Now, I humbly ask you, would you please join us in the work of the foundation? You have 3 ways to do so: the QR code, the pledge form in the middle of the table, and for those online, you can join us online at goldenapple.org/impact. And just at my table today, Dr. Tatiana asked me, how can you just get up there and speak about the foundation? Because I live this. I understand what happens. I've seen scholars come day after day in work, putting in work without asking for anyone to say, good job. And that's how I know that. Because right now, at 8:30 p.m., a small moment of generosity has the incalculable potential to make a dramatic impact in a young person's life. And it might sound cliche, but I would really hate for a small number to drive away someone from pursuing education. And I've seen that in my life personally, and I've seen in my life professionally, that sometimes, as I said before, the margins are slim. And that doesn't happen without every board member, every donor, every marathon runner, and especially every Golden Apple Scholar and Golden Apple Academy member, ensuring that the next group of generation of scholars is embraced by the community grit that they have created. So I ask you one last time, what did you learn in the last 2 years, and how will you move forward? I hope you move forward with us, because what you do here tonight may be small, but it will help us in the less glamorous moments. It will help our mentoring team answer the call when a teacher is having a bad day at school. It will help our undergraduate supports travel across the state to ensure that our scholars are doing well in those small moments when they're struggling, when they're not sure of themselves. So with that, I thank you, and I appreciate your time and presence tonight with us and coming out. So that concludes our programming, and with that, be safe, be well, and be golden.
I can see clear.